It's a sunny Saturday morning of your junior year of high school. You wake up earlier than usual, preparing to take the SAT. Your breathing accelerates and your heart rate increases as the anxiety sets in. This has been told to be the biggest academic test of your career. Where you get into college, if you go to college at all, and how much scholarship money you receive rides on this exam. It does not have to be this way, though. It has been proven time and time again that standardized testing is not an effective form of examination. It is not fair to all students, and I would like to offer a couple of solutions and alternatives to standardized testing today. Let's take a look at how standardized testing is not a just way of testing all students. It is estimated that the tutoring industry for standardized testing is worth about $1.1 billion. It is no secret that many families spend up to tens of thousands of dollars on tutoring and preparation for their child to get that number that they want to get into that prestigious university. Not all families can afford this, as we know. The link between lower income areas and lower testing scores is just a fact. It's been studied over the course of the past couple decades, and it has yet to be resolved. Some families just simply can't afford to pay tutors these insane rates to get these grades that they need to get into college or to get into programs. According to John Rosales and Tim Walker of the National Education Association, since their inception almost a century ago, the tests have been instruments of racism and a bias system. Many groups, such as Latino, African American, and some Asian groups, face discrimination in these testing areas and through universities as well. According to FAIR tests, on average, students of color score lower on college admission tests. Thus, many capable youth are denied entrance or access to so-called merit scholarships. Contribution to the huge racial gap in college enrollments and completion high-stakes testing also causes additional damage to students who are categorized as English language learners. Let's take a look at some possible alternatives. The use of portfolios are or can be just as effective as standardized tests. As an architecture major myself, I've been exposed to portfolios my entire collegiate career. At the end of each semester for a certain number of classes, I am required to compile a portfolio of all the work I have completed thus far in order to receive my final grade. If this means of grading was not accurate, I wouldn't be asked to do it for majority of my classes. Being able to see a student's work from beginning to end is very telling of their drive and their motivation to do better, and can be just as effective as a test, if not more, helping a student's case. It is clear that universities are already utilizing this idea of portfolios. In addition to having to do it in each of my classes, I also had to compile one to be admitted into the 5-year Bachelor's of Architecture program, which is what I'm in now. Colleges in some departments are already doing this, so it could definitely be embellished upon and worked into the general school admission. According to Washington Post reporter Valerie Strauss, a tsunami of college and universities have dropped the requirement for an ACT or SAT score for at least a year. We saw this due to COVID-19. A lot of colleges were going test optional. It has been working in a lot of students' favors. I know a lot of kids from my old high school who got into great universities and who truly deserved it, and they did not have to submit test scores, and it was no impact on the universities. Even high-stakes law exams are starting to be waived. Washington State's Supreme Court just decided to allow graduates from American Bar Associated accredited law schools who were registered to take the bar exam in July or September to be licensed without passing the test. So we're seeing it not only in the universities, but in real life situations as well. Putting together a collection of work can show tremendous amounts of progress, which I believe to be even more helpful for a student's case. Being able to see how a student has began and ended is far more important than how they do on a one-time high-stakes test. And one other possible solution is lower stake testing. I don't believe testing as a whole is the issue. I believe putting so much pressure and stress on one large exam can cause students to buckle under the pressure, and it just doesn't make sense to work it that way. If testing is utilized correctly with smaller, maybe one subject tests, so students have more time to prepare for one specific area rather than a couple of areas at a time, it can be very beneficial. Putting so much pressure on a singular 4-hour test is just simply not healthy. According to author Nadia Bezeda in her February 2019 article, she states, high-stakes tests also undermine instruction and critical thinking in schools, reducing opportunities for students to learn how to examine different perspectives, positions, and official claims and produce their own evidence understanding of the world. It has also led to a mass exodus of teachers. In Georgia, almost half of the teachers leave the profession after 5 years, and the state's Department of Education has referred to this mass exodus as Georgia's teacher dropout crisis. So it is not only affecting the students, but the teachers teaching this curriculum as well. More frequent lower stakes testing will also help memorization, since students can prepare for only a fraction of what they would be preparing for a larger test, therefore the material will be fresh in their minds. Standardized testing has been used for decades, yet continuously proves itself to be ineffective in truly judging a student's intelligence. A person's academic career should not be impacted by their financial status, their race, or any other factor that they cannot control. The abolishment of standardized testing could put all students on a level playing field, especially with the introduction of other methods such as testing and portfolio and smaller scale exams.